Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? I apologize for being late. Please forgive me. But we all know that life happens. Today, I can't even put it on StreamYard. I am definitely going to share with you what happened. Um, we have a new member to the family. He is about an inch and 3/4 long. And hi, Michelle, my love. I was explaining why I was late. I don't mind sharing because it's a beautiful moment. We have a new member to the family. He's about an inch and a half to 2 inches long, about a quarter of an inch tall. He's got 4 legs, a tail, a head, not shy at all, and a shell. Hugs right back to you. We have a turtle. We have a turtle. We have a turtle. So all this time I said no, I would never own another pet. When my daughter called me yesterday and she had this baby in her hand and she had the biggest smile on her face, there's no way I could have said no. Absolutely no way at all. So his name is Sonic. I don't know if he'll be joining me today, but his name is Sonic, and we're absolutely amazed to have him. So I'm Gmod to another, and I went to the store last night and got him some turtle food, and I got him his first toy. We set him up for the night using mulch from outside and water. But then today, we went and got him more of a natural environment. We're using the containers that I usually store my yarn in. We got one to clean it out like really, really, really well. All of this is temporary, but we oh really? I like that name, Mozart. But I let my daughter name it. It's perfect because one of my grandson's favorite characters is Sonic. My grandson pretends he's Sonic, and he will throw his arms back and rustle his whatever you call us and go run through the apartment. So now I have two Sonics. But I got him some gravel today. He came from, well, he'll outlive me. That's great. He'll be here long enough for Pete and Uncle. That's great. That is absolutely great. Um, Out of Williamsburg. She found him out there, and it's kind of marshy area out there. Uh, they do have a couple of areas that they can call beachy, but the area that she found him in was basically like wooded and lakes. It's more gravel than sand. So I made sure I got him some sand. I mean, some gravel. I went looking for sand, but I got gravel. And like I said, this home is just temporary right now. Michelle, I'm laughing at you. I understand. Excuse me. So if I have to be grandma to this turtle for their lifespan, then I have to live to be 146 years old. That's something to push for. That is that as long as I'm in my, at least, well, as, oh, I had to laugh at myself before I said that. Oh, I started to say as long as I'm in my right mind, but am I now? Okay, my daughter even laughed at that. As long as my mind is no worse than shoot for 146. How about that? Because that sounds a little more logical. Michelle, while I have you right here, I know I can't see you face to face right now, but I would give you the biggest hug. You have no idea. You will, but right now you don't have any idea. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. I feel you 1,000%. I wonder myself a lot of times. I do. But I can show you what I'm working on. Um, I am currently working on another market bag that will be added to my collection of things to auction. The last one. Jennifer, can I get a favor from you, please, baby? Excuse me, please. So this one has the black bottom and I think it's called gray something, flannel. Flannel. That's the colorway. It's just like a medium gray, a light gray, and an off-white. It's really pretty. It's really pretty. And it's amazing that with these past two market bags, I let my grandkids pick out the colors. So these are their colorways. Welcome in, lurkers. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Michelle. You are awesome. You are absolutely awesome. I can't tell you that I did the bottom in half double crochet. Um, I think it's called funnel half double crochet, if I'm not mistaken. It's not the quilted one that I do, but it was the check on that. But the thing of it is, you go under the two loops facing you, as opposed to with my quilted half double crochet, you go into the row below. You go into the loop of the row below, and then in the middle of the top stitch, which brings that half double crochet down. It kind of crunches it down a little, and, and this one, it's kind of thick. It's thicker. The sides are just regular double crochet. So this is what I do yesterday, guys. I was sitting out there just earlier. That's what I'm saying. We're sitting out here. We're fascinated with the turtle. We're trying to get everything all set up and everything. And I'm sitting there watching, and my eyes are at half mast. And my daughter's like, "Mom, go take a nap. What do you have to do? The kids are not here. What do you have to do?" I'm like, "I got to finish working on what I was working on." She said, "Okay, the kids are not here. Go take a nap. I understand. This is the time of day." I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. This, I went to bed crocheting last night. So let me tell you about my recent dreams. Last night, I don't know how I did it. I was 30-ish. I laid down around that time. I don't know what time I actually went to sleep. But I woke up at 2 something. And I sat straight up in the bed. Gotcha. I gotcha. I understand. But I sat straight up in the bed Uh, Let me try one thing. I did this before. It worked. I muted it. And did that help any? And then again, it might be reception as well because it's an overcast here. I purchased microphones. Now ask me where they are. That's the mystery of the day. Oh my goodness. But when I get everything like it's supposed to be, then I'll be able to check things. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. When I went to the store, I was playing something on YouTube on our phone, and it went completely out as soon as I got to the end of the sidewalk. So, yeah. But, okay, my dream. I don't know how I incorporated crocheting into my dream, but I did. I said, what's wrong? Aaron goes get pictures. Excuse me, one moment, please. I know yeah, his wife. Yeah, that's yeah. I'm sorry about that, guys. So we were in this like grocery. Okay, when I was growing up, we had a giant open air market, which later became Farm Fresh. That was our grocery store. Um, the entryway, the main entryway, was like a typical grocery store entrance, like a Food Lion entrance. We had the doors on the side and the big showcase window. Okay, that was our entryway, but ours was like different. You had elevator buttons that you could use to open the door. It was a dream, y'all. It was a dream. So every time I would go to this door, for some reason I was going to the grocery store a lot. Like I'm at Walmart every day, maybe. But this particular day, I went into the parking lot and everything went black. My grandmother and my mother, no, my mother was at home. My grandmother was with me, but she was already in the store. And I had to make a way to get in that store to find my grandmother because not only was it black outside, it was black inside. And suddenly, everything around this store turned into forest. So all of the streets and stuff that we traveled were overgrown. You know, you drive now not down a street but down a road. So I go in the store, I pull as close as I could to the store, like up on the platform, up on the sidewalk. I get out of the car and I hear these ungodly sounds like from some type of wild animal. And I look up and I lock eyes with this oversized wolf. And it's making this sound that's almost shrieking. So there was a little girl, and I assume her father, but it was a guy, and he was awestruck, and the little girl kept trying to get away. So I run and I grab the little girl, and I know that I can't make it in the building in time. So I pop my trunk, and me and this little girl hop in the trunk together, and we close the car. We wait until everything gets silent. We get out of the car, and we go inside. I'm looking for my grandma. Well, evidently, some kind of chemical had been emitted inside, and it only bothered you if you were so tall. So the little girl wasn't affected by it. It only came down to a certain level, and if you were taller than that, you would pass out, not expire, but just pass out. So when I awoke, I realized that the manager of the store was still out. What was happening is every time he stood up, he would go back down. And one of the workers was standing there just looking at him. I'm like, look, and check him, make sure he's okay, something, because there was some distance between me and the manager. but the manager and the worker were right there side by side. And this guy was like, I can't, I don't know what to do. And of course, I had a floral of words for him, but eventually I made it over to the manager to check him. Mind you, the whole while I'm telling everybody, I need you all to find my grandmother. So everybody kept asking me, what's your name? And I told them my name. And they will say, what's the name of the person you're looking for? And I gave them her name. Well, if you remember, I'm named after my grandmother. So when I gave them that name, they were like, looking for? I'm like, my grandmother. And I guess this confused you. They couldn't use the loudspeaker because that wasn't covered under the emergency backup generator. So I'm running around the store and I'm yelling, Grandma, Grandma, Grandma. And the little girl, by this time we hear a knock at the door. We're not sure how this has affected people outside. I don't know if I thought it was the apocalypse or what, but we're looking at the people outside. Everybody seems normal. Everybody's talking. So we open the door and let a few people in at a time. Of course, every time they come in, we're trying to tell them, when you come in, crawl in. You have to crawl in because it's not going to let you come in. And nobody was listening. Everybody wanted to. But it wasn't a lot of people, but they were coming up in like maybe, I would say 7 to 12 people at a time, so we could let them in the small groups. But we were trying to tell everybody, like I said, to stay low. And of course, nobody was listening. So finally, the father of the little girl did not meet his demise with the oversized wolf. He made it inside the store, and there were 2 police officers that came in with him. And the first police officer said that he wanted to arrest me for kidnapping. And the father was like, no, 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 no. She saved my daughter's life. Don't bother her. So then he started giving the father grief. He was like, I saw the whole thing. The way she just snatched the child around. He was like, you don't understand. She saved my daughter's life. So while they were arguing back and forth, I made my way. It was Farm Fresh on the outside, but Super Walmart on the inside. I made my way over to the yarn. I put X amount of dollars on the counter. I said, I'll be back here in the yarn section. Open me a crochet hook. Got me some yarn. I heard my grandmother yell back one of the times today. She said, I'm all right. I'm still shopping. Eventually they'll let us go. And I said, okay, I'll be over here crocheting. She said, okay, I'll see you in a little bit. Y'all, as soon as I found out where my grandmother was, it's like everything was okay. I woke up. This was 6:19 a.m. I woke up at 6:19 and I sat up in the bed and I looked around and I had to laugh because usually when I have a dream involving my family, I'm trying to save them from something. I'm trying to fix something, or, it's a situation where I wake up crying or I'm fighting someone to protect my family, and it was just pleasant to have a vivid, pleasant dream for a change. I mean, I know the passing out and the seeing of the wolf and the streets and stuff turning into forest, but all in all, it was pleasant. I wasn't fighting. I wasn't giving someone excessive floral words. I wasn't trying to save them from imminent danger. It felt good to have that dream. So if I could have dreams like that every night, I'd be okay. I'd be okay. Because the other morning I thought I broke my finger. I really thought I broke my finger. On purpose. And I get very defensive. And I was swinging. And in my swinging, I hit where the headboard stops. And I've got like this real thick oak. It's the sleigh bed, and it's this thick oak. And I hit the corner of that with my pinky finger. Yes, it would be the crocheting hand, and I still crocheted that day. So, Michelle, what do you? I know what you're sipping on. I started to ask you what you're sipping on. I know what you're sipping on. So I won't ask a rhetorical question. And yes, I have taken my meds today. I am sipping on my favorite. Well, no, I can't say my favorite. I went to the store to, I had to go get more coffee. Today, I'm sipping my semi favorite coffee because I have two of the 1850 blends. Um, they don't have any more in the store right now. And partly it's because when they are fronting and facing items or stock in the store for the night, they put things in the wrong places. So if you have something else sitting in that space and you're not paying attention to the label, you don't know that it's not there. This replenish system that they have in stores now is that you go scan your outages. So if there's something sitting in that space and it's not supposed to be there, then you really don't know it because you're just scanning empty spaces. And what they had was the classic, okay, what they had was the classic Folgers in that space. So, me, being the me that I am, politely took all of the boxes out of the 1850 space and put them in the Folgers Classic space where they belong. And hopefully, when they scan their outages again for their next week's arrivals, they will have everything in its proper place. And I won't have a need to complain. One of my favorite snacks is this beef stick called a fatty. They have them in Sweetwood, which is the original, and jalapeno. I don't like spicy. I'm spicy enough. I don't need extra. But my grandson loves the spicy, and he's usually like me in not liking spicy. My granddaughter loves spicy, but my grandson usually doesn't. My granddaughter does not like the spicy fatties. My grandson loves them. So for the longest time, we could not find the originals because when I go in, I grab like five at a time. When I was grabbing five at a time, I would split one between the kids and I would have one myself. And then maybe a couple of days later, it was the same process over. But this was when I was grabbing like, when I would go in like once a week and grab five of them. Well, it got to the point that I was like, I may as well get the whole box. And then my grandkids decided that they absolutely love the fatties too. So I got real upset when I started going in there and started seeing the jalapeno box sitting in the way. And I'm like, they can't order them if they can't see them. They got to move this stuff. It's got to go. I need my original fatties back. So I guess we can call today's message a lesson in retail, huh? Sometimes I look back at my jobs and I wonder um, what part of it I loved the most. I did a lot. Well, most of my jobs were in customer service in some way. The very first job I had was in a store with my auntie, Aunt Florence, and she ran a little corner store in the middle of the block. But it it shaped my work ethics. She was actually my babysitter for a while, and I got to sit on the stool behind the cash register, and I would ring everybody's items off up, this is when you had to know the prices of everything in the store. There were no stickers on them. There were no, price markers in front of them. Old-fashioned drink coolers that you pull. You had the freezers that did the same thing. I think they still have some of those freezers now, actually. But it was the display drink container, the display freezer. We had the huge jars of pickles. And of course, you have your three kinds of pickles. You have your dill pickle, you have your sour pickle, and I forgot what the other one was, but we always had three kinds of pickles. We had five kinds of cookies. We had, I don't know if you all remember, the rock and roll cookie. It was like a gingerbread cookie with strawberry icing on it. So good. So good. Wow. My first job was a tram operator at the St. Louis Gateway Arch. Wow. I know that was interesting. To me, it would probably have been exciting. To me, that because one of my jobs was cab driver. I drove cab for 10 years. And I think that was probably the only thing that instant gratification served me for what I needed. Because, of course, we got paid for every fare that you make, technically. You turn your fare. Say if a fare was on my very first day of driving by myself. Now, mind you, I'm in that time Portsmouth, Virginia, which is right across or right through the tunnel from Norfolk. The gentleman got in my cab, a sailor, and he wanted to go to Jacksonville, Florida, 4 states away. So I called my boss, who I called Daddy at the time, because he and my father shared the same middle name. And I'm like, Daddy, this man wants to go to Jacksonville, Florida. He said, I'll see you when you get back. I said, but I'm going to be gone all day. He says, no, you're going to be gone a couple of days. And I couldn't understand what he meant. He meant a gentleman gets in the cab. He gives me $1,000 up front. So he's good people, put my money up like I was supposed to. We get all the way to South Carolina and he wants to pull over. He wants to stop and look out for his driver and get some sleep. I appreciated that. We got separate rooms. He paid for both rooms. And when we got up a few hours later, it was about 4 hours later actually, we got back on the road and we went to Jacksonville. Well, the part that we went to was about 20 minutes away from my aunt. He gave me the rest of the money then, which was, I think it was like $230 something. I think his trip came to, it was less than $1240. His whole trip was $1240. He paid for a hotel room. He paid for my food. And he gave me a $500 tip. From that point forward, I didn't want to pick up anybody but sailors. I knew that wasn't a possibility, but first day to get that type of fare, oh my goodness. So I stayed with my aunt overnight, got a good night's sleep, and I came back the next day. And when I turned the cab over to my boss, what happens is the tip money is mine. So we'll say out of $1,200, whatever gas I spent is split between the driver and the owner. After I tallied up the gas and we split the rest of the money, I came home with more than $1,000. I was like, oh, This is great, mind you. This was 1998 when I started driving cable. So gas prices were nowhere near what they are now. And yeah, it was exciting. It was exciting. And then to be driving in the overnight shift in a city that was deemed to be the worst city in this area, all of the problems that I had were outside of the city of Portsmouth. All of the problems that I had were outside of this city that was supposed to be so bad. But I guess the one thing is, like most cities, each city pretty much takes care of its own, good, bad, or ugly. They generally take care of their own. And whereas they may be deemed as a bad city to outsiders, if you're there and a part of them, you're taken care of. Because the neighborhood that I lived in was supposed to be the highest um, gang fested neighborhood, but it was an upscale neighborhood. Did that make sense? Did y'all get that? We lived in a section called Cavalier Manor. Cavalier Manor was where, okay, they used to say Cavalier Manor is for the poor folks who were finally able to buy a house. That's what it was. That's what it is. But once you became a homeowner, you cherished your home. You cherished your property. You took care of everything. We did not have an HOA. You just knew to take care of yours. And once you got out there and established yourself, your neighbors looked out for you. You looked out for your neighbors. It was without being in each other's business. We moved out there. I was 11 years old. Never knew my mama had spies all up and down the street. Well, that was because my mother was a teacher. And so was the lady next door, and the lady next door to her, and the lady across the street from her, and the lady right directly across the street from us, and another lady 2 doors down from us was a nurse. So I was surrounded by mothers. I couldn't go outside without my mother getting a phone call and stuff. Well, your daughter got home from school, but she's outside riding her bike right now. What? Yeah, that's the kind of neighborhood I grew up in. But I loved it and I miss it. I do miss it. But yeah, you know, the experience of driving cab just made everything, it's like it drew my younger years up to where I was. And it set a standard at that point of what I was looking for, what I would tolerate, what I would not tolerate. Um, I learned how to put my foot down when I was there. I left that job and worked my way up to assistant manager at a 7-Eleven. And because of the backbone that I grew driving cab, I was able to do my job well at 7-Eleven. And then I went on from there to be an assistant manager at Dollar General. And the only reason I left Dollar General is because my mother got sick. She was taking radiation treatments and she needed me. So I gave up my job and I took care of my mom. And then I went back to work at another 7-Eleven. It's hard working for someone who, I put it like that. And I left there and became what I had wanted to be when I was 8 years old and saw the movie Bill Cosby, Sidney Poitier, Jimmy, black and white, JJ. Um, there was a clip in that movie. I'm sorry, my area is like that now. I don't think exactly. But there was a scene in that movie where they went into the hotel And the front desk clerk was able to tell them everything that was going on without in that hotel, not asking anybody, just gathered information. And I am inherently a nosy person. I am. I don't mind saying that. I like to be in the know, but I don't go out and ask people. I'm a listener. I don't go out and ask people their business. But if you tell it, I'm gonna listen. And it's like a bank wants to sit here. It's just the fact that I know I'm happy with that. I like knowing what's going on around me. But I stood up in the middle of the movie and told my mother, I want to be a front desk clerk when I grow up. And God would have it that that was my last job before my doctor pulled me out on disability. So I got to enjoy 5 years of being a front desk clerk at a Courtyard by Marriott. I saw the ups, the downs, the ins and outs, the highs, the lows. Had to have people ejected from the hotel. Had to hide because this ring of people set a sailor up and tried to expire him in the lobby and had to get outrageous with the assistant manager to find out. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Like Tony Braxton, I love me some me. This man waving this thing around, like anybody can catch the projectile that comes out of it. E.F. Hutton. But I just, I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for the experiences, and I love the way everything has brought me to. And then don't get me wrong. Sometimes I get upset with the process of getting there, but when I sit back in hindsight, when I sit back and look at things, I'm very happy that a lot of things have turned out like they have. My current situation with the insurance, when the event happened that we all knew about, that was very much publicized, I became concerned being a member of that insurance company. And there was always this little trigger thing in the back of my mind, maybe you need to find something else. Maybe you need to find something else. So now I've been forced into a position that I have options. So I'm grateful for that. And one of the reasons I picked the one that I did is because of their exactly. Oh, Michelle said pew pew. But one of the reasons, gotta run, clean up time. You take care, and I love you. I love you. But one of the reasons I got the insurance was because of the dental and the hearing aids. Well, the hearing aids and I are not getting along that well. Um, I do better reading lips and listening to voice inflections. So, and the dentist that I found, I fell in love with my dentist. I did. He treated me very well, but he's retiring next month. And when I go to a dentist, I'm like a 2-year-old child. He thought I was bad until they realized that they had to give me medication to calm me down and gas just to clean my teeth. So, and I love the outcome. I'm not that bad now because I got to know that dentist and I learned that they were not going to hurt me. But because of things that had been done to me in the past, I'm terrified when I go to a new dentist. I had a dentist in Virginia Beach that the very first time I met him, I told him, I said, look, I'm like a 2-year-old. You're going to have to take it easy with me. He said, well, you're a grown A woman. I'm not going to take it but so easy. I said, okay. So he had to do a tooth extraction. And when he came with the first needle, my head jerked. And he said, okay, there will be no more jerking. Okay. He came with the second needle. It was almost instinctual. He gassed me. He put the numbing medicine in, took the tooth out. He said, "You're worse than a child." I said, "I already told you that. So you're not telling me anything I don't know." Guys, you all have been absolutely wonderful. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Those who were lurking, and my Michelle, who's right here with me. Oh, I love you so much. I love you so much. And I thank you for the support. I would like to ask everybody watching this on replay, or even if you were in the room, please, please, please leave your thumbs. Share my videos with your friends so that they can subscribe as well. Um, Help get me out here. I'm working, y'all. I'm working. I'm working. Be on the lookout for the next ASL video, which will be coming out this afternoon. Also, on the 26th of April, I will be having another auction, which will be a combination of an auction and my first podversary celebration that will mark the next day, actually, will mark 1 year of me being with you all on these YouTube streets. I absolutely love each and every one of you. I want to tell you to always be and behave. Remember, Kitty Lane told you. And until we see each other again on these YouTube streets, peace. Michelle.